Hello all and welcome to First Impressions. My name is HighPriest and today I will be talking about my first impressions of, well, Alice Through the Looking Glass. The sequel to Tim Burton's other Alice in Wonderland movie. And, I should preface that this is all a first impression. I've been probably 30 minutes since I watched the movie. I like that. I like to keep it fresh in my mind and everything, but so it's really is a first impression. Hence the title. As such, opinions are subject to change. This is true for all my first impression videos. But, anyways, so, I just finally got around to watching the movie, and I should just preface this as well with, I enjoyed watching the original movie, but I admit it was a very flawed movie that wasn't all that great, or good, even. It was mediocre. It's enjoyable if you can turn your brain off, which, up until this point, I've been fairly good at doing, but unfortunately, I've started analyzing movies I watched, and that makes it a bit harder to watch. So yeah, my main thing when I watched this movie is I was hoping it would improve things, specifically the Wonderland. The thing about Wonderland is it needs three things to truly be Wonderland, or Underland. It needs to be wondrous. It needs to be fantastical, which I'll give it. The Wonderland he presents is fantastical, and even a bit wondrous. But it misses the final key aspect: nonsensical. Wonderland, the entirety of Wonderland is mad. Logic just does not click entirely there. And that was something sort of lacking in the other one. Because, well, you can't have a proper plot if it's nonsensical. Of course, that's because the original movie didn't have... The original movie and the book it's all based on didn't really have a proper plot. It was nonsensical. I think that was honestly the movie's biggest flaw. Well, that and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, it tried to have the source of the movie's problems was it wanted a somewhat logical plot. And you just can't have that out of a story about a girl, or a woman in this case, chasing a rabbit down a rabbit in a coat down a hole. Through tea parties and kingdoms and all sorts of wacky places. That being said, I did like the way that opened. With the Cheshire smile twisting into the moon. I like that. That was a nice shot. That being said, that lead up to the reveal of Alice as the captain, I'm like, to quote myself at the time, oh, what a shocking twist. And then I wrote sarcasm, just in case I ended up forgetting what I really meant with that. I'm like, oh no, what a shocking twist. Yeah, no, it was completely expected. And I didn't really like that segment. It wasn't really all that enjoyable. It had okay visuals. It was a action scene. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. Well, there is one particular thing I can focus on, though. Well, first, woman, I don't think they care what your feelings are on the word impossible are when something as far as they're concerned, them surviving is impossible. And two, this is the big thing. Yell louder. The woman playing Alice was screaming like she was like this. Look at me! I'm screaming! Yeah, like you do when you don't want to, yell in the ears of people around you, or in my case, this. Well, getting the action that you're pretending to scream across. I bought that she was pretending to scream during a storm. I don't know. I said snow. Probably the weather. Ugh. I'll record this. Yeah. I'm having trouble reading my, trouble reading my own handwriting. That's always been a problem. Oh yeah. Oh my. I don't know why they keep focusing on the butterfly. That was my response when the camera kept focusing on my butterfly. Oh, it's caterpillar probably. And another thing, when she says, I didn't realize this until much later, but she called Time a thief and a villain. I should have realized that was foreshadowing for a time travel flaw, which, nah. I mean, okay, I'm just gonna say my opinion right here and now. This movie is just as mediocre as its predecessor. There were improvements, but I also feel there were places it just... There were improvements. I just felt like there were places where it fell behind in other ways. Like that fake yelling scene. But, oh, my mouth is dry. I need a drink. And I forgot to pour myself one. Forehand. Oh yeah, the movie was trying to make it seem like I should dislike Haymitch. Yeah, the guy who Alice turned down in a not so great way in the last one. I mean, I know you've watched it, so you know who I'm talking about, but just in case you put the movie out of your mind since clicking on this video. I don't know why the movie seemed to think I should dislike her. I couldn't care either way. I do dislike Haymitch, though. He's a very unlikable guy. The movie did succeed in doing that. But, and this is the important part, through him, I actually did enjoy one of the things they improved about the movie. They acknowledged how, how did I put it? Oh yeah, how completely unrealistic, Alice's goals were at that point. I mean, at that point in time. A woman ship captain, a woman businessman. I mean, they happened, but they were rare and generally frowned upon by polite society. I mean, if she wanted to go pirate, she'd probably be accepted in a heartbeat. Well, probably as soon as she beat someone's ass, but that's pirates for you. Yeah, that's the general criminal world. As long as you prove yourself capable, they'll give you some level of respect. Not so in polite society in that period. Honestly, as much of a massive D-bag that guy was, and he was, in fact, a massive D-bag, the offer of making her into a clerk was extremely generous for that time period. It was. I mean, Even he notes most places wouldn't even make a woman a clerk. She, in a realistic sense, she'd, you know, should counter blessings. But unfortunately, in the first one especially, much more than this one, Alice, the movie has the nonsensical parts in the real world and not in the Underland. Ugh. Mainly that, you know, Alice could actually accomplish the things she wanted to accomplish. I mean, I'll say it, I like the ending to this much more, so even though it felt like the same thing, it felt like it was more natural in this movie than it was in the last one. I mean, I'm skipping ahead a lot, but yeah, no. I do like that the fact that the movie actually acknowledged what she's trying is kind of unrealistic for the reality of the situation. We didn't even get acknowledgement of that in the last movie, and I think that was a major improvement. Also, yeah, I was with Alice when she was pissed at her mom, because, you know, that kind of was a dick move to do. Not just the whole selling the things to try to help her daughter because she thought it would help her daughter. No. The dick move was her selling the things and then not telling her daughter before they went to the party. She let Alice basically make a fool of herself by not saying a word of it. That's just awful. Why would you do that? I mean, yeah, that's just... No, that's not okay, woman. Oh, yeah. And, of course, the fact that the portal back and forth in this movie was a mirror, which she moved through, hence through the looking glass. Yeah, I should have seen that coming, but I didn't really actively think about this movie much before I watched it. I was like, why was I like surprised by that? But, yeah. Also, I was not sure why Humpty Dumpty was there, because I don't think Humpty Dumpty had anything to do with Lewis Carroll. I mean, his sequence was funny. I did get a chuckle out of me. I enjoyed it. But why was he there? Also, I also laughed at the Mind Your Step bit. See, there is some funny, genuinely amusing, and even funny moments throughout this movie that, much like there were in the last one as well. They're not common, they're little things, but yeah. And then there's the whole thing with Mad Hatter. Okay, see, when they said that Mad Hatter was mad, and then, yeah, but darker. Hold on, there we go. Sorry, my eye's bothering me. I thought, oh my god, are we going to get an evil Mad Hatter? Evil Johnny Depp? That sounds great. My exact words were, let's see how they screw this up. Now, I'm not going to blame the movie for that. I wouldn't have used the words darker, but I was the one who leapt to conclusions that would have been great. Could have been great. But it's my fault for leaping to conclusions that darker meant bad and not depressed. Yeah, so I was hoping for evil Johnny Depp Mad Hatter there, and I was disappointed, but I don't blame the movie for that. That was my fault for getting ahead of myself. So yeah, the time travel plot. I wasn't that very enthused about it when I found out. It just didn't seem like it'd be all that well done, and it was alright, but there was some things I especially did actually like about the time travel plot. Like, well, Time's Castle. The slapstick was dumb, but I actually liked Time's Castle. The design of it. I like the look of it from the outside. I like the look of it from the inside. It was very... honestly, I think it really worked. It was very wondrous, very fantastical, and even just a bit nonsensical. What with it being inside a clock. I liked that. I also liked some of what they did with the design. But the slapstick really didn't do it for me. And I'm usually a guy who likes slapstick. I also really like that bit where Time is describing himself in all these big words, and he goes, immeasurable, unless we have a clock. I'm like... That one got a laugh at me. Yeah, and not long after he said that, I made a prediction. Okay, where is it? It's going to turn out that they're all alive all this time. Towards Mad Hatter's family. Shocker. They were alive the whole time. Like, yeah, no, this movie is far too predictable for what should be a Alice in Wonderland movie, let alone a Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie. Like, this place should look like American McGee's Alice, not Standard Fantasy World number 9. The new places we go to in this movie are nice, and I actually do really like them. They're better than the rest of Wonderland, but unfortunately they didn't revamp Wonderland to match the aesthetic change. The rest of it was still, you know, a standard fantasy world. Though I do really like the fact that the capital was called Wits End. I'll be honest. If I ever have an opportunity to name a town in real life, I'm going to call it Wits End. Then again, I'm also going to do that at every opportunity I get in a video game. Which, there are a lot of games that allow that. That'll be fun. But, yeah. And then, of course, the Red Queen shows up. And the Queen of Hearts shows up. And, of course, I go... And, of course, this bitch shows up. But, yeah. I'm talking about the castle. One of the things I liked about it was, you know, the living and deceased room, where they were moved the back, and how he referred to Alice's dad's watch as a fallen soldier. I like that. But, yeah, I wanted to cover that before, because I didn't write anything about that down. But now, thinking about it, I did really enjoy those bits. There were some bits I really enjoyed in this movie. Much more than the last one. Just it was buried within this movie. But yeah, when the seconds became the turn combined together in 4 minutes, the first thing I said, and I take it that's called a minute, and just as I said that, she says seconds into minutes. I'm like, ah. I was going to say that. But yeah. I was also expecting the Red Queen to grab onto the time thing before the chronosphere or whatever, before it went. Also, while I'm here, can I just comment how glad I am there's a later scene that shows that the chronosphere wasn't, not only was the chronosphere not the only time ship time had, but that the other one could be used by anybody. Man, Alice put all of reality at stake for no real good reason. Because she could have stolen that instead and it would have worked out better. But yeah. I did mention hold on, what? Okay, yeah. I mentioned a lot of things that I wrote down here, like Underland being a generic fantasy setting at that point. And then there's that whole little ironic echo moment when Hatter says he doesn't want to end up like his dad, and I'm like, oh, hello, ironic echo. I'm like, did Tim Burton go to TV tropes when trying to write this movie? Because, yeah, no, that just felt like a bite of numbers moment. Also, while I'm here, I'm just going to complain about Flutter Rocket. It's dumb. I just wanted to get that out of my system while I was going through this. But, yeah. I did really like that bit where Time ends up at the tea party and they all end up making the really bad time puns, which pisses Time off, and he forces them to relive tea time until Alice shows up. Mostly because that's sort of what happened in the actual story. They were convinced that they'd pissed off Time somehow, and that and then until they pleased them, it would be tea time forever. Alice had nothing to do with it, but I do like that reference to the book. I enjoy when movies do that. Especially since, you know, I've never seen any adaptation of the story that mentions it. So, A+ for that. And then, of course, we got to the part where she went back again to when they were all little kids. And I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I'm not sold on, oh, they're all kids. They're all cute kids, and the Cheshire's learning how to use his abilities, and well, I just did not enjoy that moment at all. Part of it's because they were trying to make me sympathize with the Red Queen, which, no, there was no sympathy. No sympathy there. I didn't care. It helped me realize that this was going to be one of those stories about... Yeah, and then the moment she hits her head, I realized, oh, this is one of those stories where you can't change the future. And then Alice realizes it a second after I do. I feel bad for not being able to figure out that obvious plot twist sooner. And then, of course, you know, she gets cornered by time and jumps through the mirror and wakes up in an sanatorium. Or whatever it's called. A sanatorium? Yeah, that's it. A sanatorium. And I was like, at first I was like, oh my god, she jumped into the past of the real world. And then I looked over to the clock and I was like, how is this got 40 minutes left? But yeah. And I quickly realized after that point that, because like, there cannot be that much of this movie left. Why is this almost 2 hours long? It doesn't need to be 2 hours long. I still hold that it didn't need to be 2 hours long. Even though this did actually hit the point in the movie where I was starting to enjoy it again. It had managed to rekindle some interest, which was, you know, like, because I didn't realize she wasn't. I realized, oh wait, no, she's not in the past. She just got sent to a sanatorium because she was seen acting crazy in that room. Like, the implications that she'd been there that when she went into the window, the mirror, she was actually in the room the entire time and had just gone publicly bonkers. Of course, this doesn't actually reflect the movie later, but that was what drew my interest. Like, is Wonderland secretly really just her imagination? Because that'd be pretty great. It wasn't, but that's what rekindled my interest. The idea that Wonderland really is just her cracked mind dealing with her issues. But yeah. Also, I did like that little bit where she said as she escaped, if there's one thing I've learned at sea, it's how to tie a knot. And that amused me just because I'm generally a fan of stuff involving nautical things and games and stuff, and movies and such. And yeah, one of the important support skills you need to learn when on a ship is how to tie a knot. Oh yeah, that bit where she hijacks a buggy going, I plead insanity! That was great. I love that. That was great. But yeah. Eventually she makes it back. We see the Hatter's death on Hub blah 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 day. I have no idea how. I forgot what the word even was, but I don't think I can pronounce it either way. So she goes back. We see Hatter himself, and yeah, I didn't care about his supposed death. For one thing, it was blatantly obvious he wouldn't die. There's no way Tim Burton was going to kill Johnny Depp off. I don't think he's ever done that in a movie with Johnny Depp. I just didn't buy it. It did not sell me on it. I didn't care. So when they make their way... So yeah, Hatter recovers from his depression death. They go off to the castle to rescue Hatter's family. And I'm like, I do like the look of the castle a bit. It's not great, but I do like the look of its, yeah, planty look just a bit. I also like that bit where she ripped the nose off of the guard and ate it. And the guard looked appropriately disturbed. No, once again, Wonderland, I don't think the guards should have been disturbed. They should have been just like... Yeah, because Wonderland. It's nonsensical. Right, this is a story where Alice rescues a baby from somebody only for it to turn into a pig. It's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be mad. It really doesn't live up to that as much as it should. Okay, but yeah, let's... Yeah. So they get into the castle. Did I skip anything? Oh yeah, the Queen's coronation. Where, of course, everything is ruined by the Hatter laughing. The only thing I cared about that scene was the fact that, realistically, the monarch should have been more unhappy about their daughter being laughed at. You know, like, ruled by the peasantry. Like, again, they're supposed to be good guys, but come on, guys. The peasantry was mocking your daughter. Maybe get a little angry about that, huh? But yeah, no. So that they're going for the castle, searching for them. They go into the room because Hatter's convinced they're in there, and of course they are because they're in. What was it? The ant farm. I was trying to figure out the word for that. I was having a brain fart. But yeah, they were in the ant, shrunken down and put in the ant farm. Which I did like a bit. Mostly, not the ant farm itself, just that little bit with the fact they actually managed to foreshadow the ant farm prior to that. Did I skip? Oh yeah, that's right. I skipped over the fact the Red Queen was seducing Time to try to get the Chronosphere, but while he was her patsy in many ways, he wasn't going to give her the goddamn Chronosphere because, you know, he needs that to stay alive and to keep reality from falling apart. Yeah. I put a little thing here I can't even read. Oh yeah, so yeah. She captures them. She uses the Chronosphere to go back in time, sees herself, reality breaks, and I do like the rust effect. Especially when it meant the one of the other effects in the movie I really liked. The Sea of Time. I did like that. I was expecting a generic sea, not, you know, water flames flowing up. I think it could have been a bit more imaginative, but I did like the fact that the waves were coming in from above and below. And I liked what happened when the rust hit it. I'm not sure how Time stopping himself while shoving his finger in actually did anything to the rest, since it was the end of time. You'd think stopping it stopping himself would actually make it worse, not better, not pause it. But okay. But yeah, they get the Chronosphere back. They fly back. Everyone gets turned to rust, and then it conveniently goes off. The day is saved. And then, but yeah. And then there's a sappy reunion between the Red and White King, and I'm like, oh. Great, yeah. I did like her little line about always liking small things. About her explanation for why she shrunk them down. I like that. That was funny. It's like, you know, it's like small things. So like, But yeah, one of my favorite moments in the movie actually happens after that. Time goes on to check the room of the living to see who's died. Alice hands her father's watch to him. It's a really nice moment where she talks about how her father would have liked this guy, and she should have, and how he's right, and she shouldn't have done these things and all that. And he basically says, and then he says, "Time has no friends, but I will always remember you." Now, I think it's time for you to go, and please never come back. I love that. Like, yeah, you fixed what you broke, but you were the one who broke it in the first place, so please don't come back. And then we get the ending where she comes back, accepts that, yeah, she might actually have to be a grown-up and accept reality and actually take that clerk job. Only for the smug shit to piss her mama off enough that she tore up the contract. Because, yeah, it is the reality situation, but that doesn't mean you should take shit from smug assholes like that. Oh, and then, of course, they set up a business to try to crush them. And I like that ending more than the original. Like I said before, I think it worked where the original didn't. It wasn't a great ending, but the original was not good. This one was at least good, but once again, while there were locations in Wonderland that were great, it just didn't. Underland just was not Wonderlandy enough to work. It really wasn't. Also, why does Hatter look like that? We see him as a little kid, and he doesn't have that weird ass face paint. But no, he becomes like that at some point. Why? Why does he look like that? None of the rest of his family look like that. Why? Ugh. Yeah, sorry, I got that out of my system, but it's like people said, when they heard Tim Burton was making Alice in Wonderland, everyone was super excited, but this movie really didn't live up to that. And I'm confused. Why is the one person we expected to give us a truly great Wonderland failing in this regard? We've seen Tim Burton's previous work. What is missing? What spark is missing when he writes these movies? Is this just a paycheck to him? I'm honestly curious. I mean, like, it's like that Monkey Bones movie. That is a better Wonderland movie than this one, just by virtue of having that coma world or whatever. Make a better, it being strange, just a bit unnerving, and wondrous, strange, a bit unnerving, but interesting. So much better than this Wonderland. I don't get it. But, yeah. Now that I've gone out of my system. But yeah, it's another mediocre movie, but I do think it's better in quite a few ways than the other one, even if I don't think in every way and the ways that and I think it might be worse in some other ways. Just because we've now got the generic Fantasyland stuff contrasting with the actually interesting places. Like, again, Time's Castle. Time's Castle. But, yeah. Normally, even then, I think I'd still have enjoyed this movie much more, if I wasn't analyzing it so much. The problem with trying to, pull a critic on a movie. You actually have to think about it a lot, and sometimes those plot holes your mind naturally skips over become glaringly obvious. But yeah, that's my opinion of Alice in Wonderland 2, Alice Through the Looking Glass. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with either another one of these or another reaction video next week. I'm not sure which at the moment. This is HighPriest signing out, and I will see you all next time, folks.